Okay, good evening. Now we go with the finance. And this meeting is called to order at 8:31 p.m.
Oops.
Okay. So the first item in the agenda would be the .21 presentation from Southwest Food Service Excellence, LLC.
Good
Okay.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Food Service Excellence, LLC.
We have invited Javier Romero, our SFE director, as well as Araceli Soto, our child nutrition director, so that they can do a presentation. Mr. Romero?
Hi, good evening, board president, board members, Dr. Carmen. Thank you for the opportunity to allow us the chance to kind of do a quick presentation on what we've been doing. I put together a two-part presentation. The first part kind of talks a little bit about what we're doing, and the second part is some of the things that we still haven't had an opportunity to do it due to the COVID situation, but we're looking forward to be able to do those things here real soon. So I'm gonna do my best here to try to share my screen. Bear with me if it takes me a little bit, but can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you again. My name is Javier Romero. I'm the Director of Regional Operations for SFE here in the Rio Grande Valley. As we all know, we also have a team of General Manager Elia Juarez. We have a Chef Sauriel and Chef Gabriel, and we have a nutritionist / menu planner that's also part of the SFE team here on site. And again, I want to take the opportunity to also welcome the new board members. I really haven't had an opportunity to meet you all in person. I know it's kind of hard with the situation we're in, but I'm really looking forward to your input. I'm looking forward to your suggestions. We're looking forward to your vision and work together and continue this partnership as we move along throughout the school year. So I'll go ahead and get started. The first slide I want to talk a little bit about is about participation. Okay, so the participation information here, let me see if I can minimize this. Okay, the participation information, I kind of put this together by the months, September, October, November, and December. Now, I use the serving days as a guide because this is how I kind of projected the participation. And understand that we're doing the seamless summer option, so technically there's no serving days because we are serving 7 days a week, and we're also serving some holidays. But I just kind of wanted to share this with you so you can kind of get an understanding of how many meals we've been serving per day and how many meals we've served so far. As you can see, I can see there's an upward trend. As you can see, when you match, I guess, apples to apples when it comes to the serving days on the calendar. I think we've done a lot of great things. We've kind of streamlined a lot of our processes. I think helped us. As you can see, from September through December, you've seen a slight increase. I know we've done some menu changes. We offer some more scratch cooking items, and of course, a lot of community awareness. We've also kind of communicate a lot of the information and a lot of things that we're doing on Facebook. And we've also done collaborated very well with the transportation and security team, which at this point, I would like to point that out is that, the transportation and the security, the police officers have done a phenomenal job partnering with our department to ensure that all these meals get out. They're out there helping us load up the buses, they're helping us unload the buses, and I just wanted to make sure that this presentation had the opportunity for me to share that information with the board on how blessed we are to have them helping us out with the routes. So thank you again for that. And I want to also talk a little bit about some of the food and menu updates that we've done. As you can see, we put some of the pictures here that I want to just kind of share with you. Some of the things that we've been doing and we continue doing is and do this day in and day out is training. Making sure that the packaging looks good, making sure that we're making the presentation of the food look well, making sure that when the child gets their meal, it's well presented. And I know some of those challenges are sometimes pretty hard because there's challenges with the menu options, or sometimes there's challenges with the packaging. But we are doing the best we can to ensure that the meals are looking good. We want to make sure also that the menu selection is always there's always a variety of menu selections as well. So I kind of wanted to just share some pictures and with you, and then again, we had added a lot of variety on as far as second vegetables and egg rolls and a lot of condiments, but that kind of caused a little bit of a menu situation based on the calorie counts and based on sodium restrictions. So we've kind of adjusted our menu a little bit to ensure that we still have a variety of items, but again, with the insurance that we are in compliance. Again, some of the things that we've added a lot of staff training. During the time when we were at the beginning of the school year, as you all well know, we had a lot of our staff out. We had to close some of our campuses due to the COVID situation. We did bring in some additional chefs to help us support and work at a lot of our schools. We also made some menu changes, because due to the fact that we've been having a lot of constraints with a lot of the product that we procure, because a lot of the other school districts are also using some of the product that we're using. So we also streamlined that effort. We try to create a better cycle menu, so we can leverage our readily available products, to ensure that we don't have that many outs when we order from our food purveyor. The other piece to this is the food packaging and the presentation. We've also included the hidden instructions on our packaging. Of course, we have fruit and milk. We kind of packaged it a little bit different. Instead of just kind of putting everything in a box, we kind of put that in Ziplocs, making sure that the presentation of the product and the food is well and looks good. Well, and one of the things that we enjoy doing as SFE, we enjoy connecting with the community. And as most of you know, it's been a little challenging to do that. We did, create a farmer's market per se, but we had to do it curbside, where we offered a lot of different varieties of fruits and vegetables that we gave out to the people on our curbside routes. They came by, and of course, as soon as they picked up their meals, we kind of gave them a nice little package of different variety of fruits and vegetables that they can try. The other part that we've been doing, again, trying to communicate with the community, sharing photos of the staff, collaborating, with communities and school programs, participating in some of the other programs that you all have. Because I think it's very important, that they have a place or a platform that they can reach out to us and give us any feedback that we feel would help us improve our program. As you can see, we've done the curbside farmers markets. We've also participated in the fall festival on October 24th. Some of the things that we're still working on, and there's still things that we have in the works. And again, we're trying to do our best we can is create a menu committee. I know we've had some face-to-face students coming in. We're hoping that number grows so we can create those committee meetings in the campus level. We also want to work with the district, to try to create some demos and food demos for us to kind of share what our staff is doing in the cafeterias. And again, those are some short-term goals that we're working on to help us, again, communicate our program and ensure that we are giving as much information to not only the administrators, the district, but as well as the community. One of the other big parts that we've done, I think it's helped us a lot, because as being new partners to the school district, there's always different expectations. And so we've done a lot of communication, and we've shared a lot of information. We have daily recap meetings. We've created a lot weekly manager meetings. We've talked about food presentation and training, computer software training, menu development training, and we've always had those meetings to allow the managers their input on what we can do better, where are we falling short, because that's one of the biggest successes that we've been having is having these meetings helps us understand the goal, and helps us understand the vision of what we're trying to do in the child nutrition department. And then, the other piece to this, which is one of the most important pieces of what we do, is, we're having a financial review and forecasting. I meet with Ms. Soto, and we go over the participation numbers, the costs. We've had some higher costs, but we've decreased it as the months have gone by. We're getting better. We're kind of learning the system. We're making sure the menus are well on the are being, our menus are good menus to where our participation is increased, which of course helps our revenue and helps our cost. So again, these are just great things that we're doing. This is kind of the piece that I wanted to share with you of what we're doing now. And the next part to this participation, this presentation is a little bit about what some of the benefits that the district will experience again once the COVID is. We get more students in the serving lines. We get more students, coming through our cafeterias. But before I go on to the second part of the presentation, does anybody have any questions on the first part? Okay. So I'll continue on the second part of the presentation. The second part of the presentation is, again, some of these slides that I'm posting here kind of gives you the understanding of when we partnered with the school district back in July. We wanted to, again, we were hoping that by now we had the students back in school, and we had said, this is some of the things that we're going to bring to the table. The made from scratch cooking, the guaranteed financial results, the operational excellence, marketing, communication, innovations, and community involvement. And we've done a little bit of all that. We just haven't been able to, again, do as much community involvement as we liked. The innovation when it comes to the mobile ordering, one of the things that we wanted to do once the students were back, is to have the mobile app to where students can order from their mobile phone. And now we're trying to work and install the app on the Chromebooks, so when more students start coming back, we can start doing that type of innovation in the child nutrition department. Again, we've always had a made from scratch approach. We try to have everything made from scratch. I know, again, as we're doing the routes and we're doing the different types of services that we're offering, it's a little bit harder to do the made from scratch options all the time, but we are working very hard and diligently to do that. One of the things that we've always been very proud of is our fresh fruit and vegetable options. Now, not saying we can't still do it, we would just have to serve it to the student. But again, these are the things we're looking to do. As you all know, we had also purchased a tortilla machine, make those tortillas from scratch. As a matter of fact, tomorrow we're having a meeting and going over, on the process on how we're going to start making the tortillas from scratch on our tortilla machine to send out to our students. So those are just some of the things that, we enjoy doing. And we're hoping that once we can have more students back into the cafeterias, we'll be able to execute this the best way possible. The other thing, again, marketing and communication, I think that's very, very important to us. We've already installed the digital marketing on the campuses. We have an app that students can look at the menus, even rate the food. We've done some marketing signage at the campuses as well. And the other thing that we also do, we cater special events for the district. If the district is having some type of event, we've done, I think, the back to school convocation. I think we've done a couple of board and presentations, and we've done some catering. So we're always willing to do that for the district. And again, but the best part about catering is, if we all the money stays within the district, and we will cater it for you. We build a department, and it all stays within the district. So that's one of the great things about the catering department that we have, that we can serve you all some great meals, whether it be for managers meetings. I'm sorry, for principal meetings or whatnot. And again, going back to the innovation, we always stay up to date with restaurant trends, culinary techniques. The food truck that we've already purchased, as you can see the picture on here, we haven't had an opportunity to utilize it as much as we like to, but that's something in the works. So, once we find, we can put it out and we can get more of the kids together, I think it'd be a great option to have for the students. It's a morale booster. Kids love it. It's something different. It's kind of the norm from going through the cafeteria line. So we're really looking forward to doing a lot of these things, especially the mobile ordering. I think that's one of the greatest things that we want to do as we start seeing more and more students come back to the school. And lastly, the community involvement. We feel that that's the best way to not only to involve ourselves with the community, but to continue our partnership and to show how committed we are to these programs. We haven't had an opportunity to do a roving chef with the students, where the kids have an opportunity to cook with the chefs in the schools. But we want to start doing those kind of things. Once we have more students in schools, and there's maybe through the social distancing, we'll be able to execute these, again, making sure that we're handling all the social distancing procedures. That's something that we want to do here real soon. Okay, that's kind of the presentation. I'm open for any questions or any suggestions that y'all have.
Mr. Romero, I was able to go see the food truck. It's over there at the maintenance department, and it's really nice. I'm pretty sure the kids are going to enjoy when they see it coming, driving up, and it looks really nice. I really liked it.
Well, we really can't wait to use it. I think it's one of the, we have other district partners that use it, and I mean that's the highlight of every child's day is going out to a food truck and utilizing it.
That's great. Thank you so much. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
Will the food from the food trailer be sold to the kids, or is it part of the nutrition program?
Ms. Lopez, all the items that we put on the trailer, they're reimbursable meals, so it would be no cost to the student. So it would be just like an extension of a serving line. So the kids would come through the line, they would make their choices, and we would give them the food through the trailer. That's the only difference. Is it's still like an extended serving line. Let's put it that way.
Okay. All right. And the other question I had was, are all the schools receiving the same menu?
Right now, we kind of have a few different menus, okay? Because we have the route menus, because they have to be a little bit different because we have multiple meals on that one. We have the face-to-face menu, okay? Because again, we have students that are face-to-face, and then we have the curbside menu. So we are maneuvering through so many different menus because it's hard to serve the same items for the different programs that we're operating on right now. But all the menus are on our website, and they're also on the NutriSlice app.
Okay.
Great.
And what about
Thank
the
you.
portions? Do all the kids get the same portion? Like elementary kids get the same portion as high school, or do you modify that because the older kids eat more?
Well, that's a great question, but being the way we have it set up, we're running what is called a seamless summer option, and some of these waivers that we have to utilize during this COVID, some items have more servings than others, but again, most of the times they're usually the same portions.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir, Mr.
Okay.
Romero. This is Orlando here. I'm sorry, Ms.
Yes.
Weaver.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
go ahead.
I was just gonna, I had a couple of questions or comments. As far as I know you're new to our district. Do you guys somehow, some way have an evaluation tool to evaluate your services from our staff? And second of all, as far as I mean, I know several board members went and visited a couple of your local clients. Is it fair to say, or is it not, information that's accessible so people can see, how they grade you in other schools? Like, for example, the Fresno's or in, I know you're in Rio Hondo. Is there any way you can get that information or other schools in the Valley to see how they grade your service? I mean, I know right now there's a lot of challenging situations right now with COVID where we go and either they pick up the meals, at the schools, or we drop them off or whatever, I know that it's a huge challenge, and maybe this question is unfair for you right now, but I would feel it would be interesting to see that and see where we stand.
Well, that's a good question, but I know we haven't done it this school year, but prior years, with all our district partners, we've had what is called a report card. We call it the SFE. We would give it to the CFO, we would give it to the superintendent. We would even go as far as give it to some principals and some other department heads. So we would put a report card together, and we would talk a little bit about, what they like and what they don't like. And we would maybe talk about, what is the student satisfaction? What are they rated? A, B, C, D? How is our communication with parents and staff? Is it an A, B, C, or D? So yes, we've done that type of report cards that we've offered to our district partners, which again, they give us that feedback to us, so we can again identify where we can make improvements. And I'll be more than glad to put a report card together, kind of like what we've used in the past, and share it with the district and give it to, again, the board members, the parents, staff, administrators, whatever you would prefer. But yeah, we can do that. That's something we've done before. Like I said, this year we haven't done that because we haven't really met too much with too many people. But yes, we do that. We do those SFE report cards, as we call them, and you grade them from A to F, just like you would do a student's report card.
Well, like I said earlier, I don't know if you heard me, but I'm a parent first. So I have a child that attends a school district. So I don't think it's up to the board. Honestly, we make a decision to allow you guys to service our district. But as far as us grading you, I don't think it's, in my opinion, I'm just speaking for myself. I think it's up to our staff and the kids and the parents to evaluate that. And, that's my opinion.
And we can also we also have surveys that we can put out and send, with the routes in the curbside bags, and we can even do the surveys for the face-to-face students. We can put all those. We'd be more than glad to put those together and start sending them out.
Yes, sir, please. That would be great. Yes, sir.
Along those lines, if I may, Mr. Romero, in reference to those SFE report cards, as you mentioned, I work for the Rio Hondo School District, but and we no longer utilize your service, but I am familiar with those report cards. And as Mr. Lopez mentioned, when I would meet with my food service director and I would be asked these questions, how do we rate it from A to whatever? Again, I agree with Mr. Lopez that it's not up to us to rate the service. I think our number one people that we need to really engage in what they like and don't like is our kids. And at this point, as you mentioned to Mr. Lopez, a possibility of you doing those surveys with our communities, because it's a critical time with our face-to-face students being at a minimum, you've got the opportunity to gauge the parents that are at home, that are receiving these meals at home, to see how they feel about the service. And in addition to that, you know, one of I guess my qualms that I had with the service is the variety, and it was brought up several times with our parents that the younger kids had less of a variety than the older kids, and I guess it comes with age and it comes with selection and time but I guess I feel like I'm ranting, but I do agree with Mr. Lopez that we should try to gauge our parents right now that are receiving these meals, and then those face-to-face students to see how they feel and what changes they would like. And once again, as well, another thing that you all have done in the past that I recall is having your student advisory groups to
Yes.
where you ask them what their likes and dislikes are. They get to test the different items and have them buy into the program and be selective as to what kind of menus are provided to them.
Mr. Moreno, I agree with everything you're saying, because, you know, we do, again, do a lot of the menu committees. You know, most of our menus, we like to call them student approved menus, you know, because that's what we do. I know we haven't had an opportunity to have too many students together, but, you know, we will put out some surveys, and I'll start working on that tomorrow morning, so we can start handing out to the parents, whether it be curbside routes or face-to-face students, to get some of their input and see what we can, again, what are the likes and dislikes. Again, that's something that we enjoy doing. We haven't been doing it as often as we would on a normal school year, but yes, that's something we'll put that in place.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Moreno.
Thank you so much. Yes, it's a very good thing to, you know, have an input and what is it that they like more, that we like to see more of. So yeah, I like that too. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms.
Any
Wood.
Mhm. Okay, any other questions? Okay, well, thank you so much for your great presentation, Mr. Romero.
Thank you all very much as well for having me here tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Romero.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the next agenda item. 2.2, presentation on bond by Destined Trailer RBC Capital.
Ladies and gentlemen, when we're throughout the year, Dr. Carmen and I will talk about potential cost savings and how we can generate a little bit of extra revenue. One of the things that came up was maybe refinancing one, possibly two of our bonds. So we do have a couple of items that we would like to talk to y'all about. We have Series 2011 and Series 2012. Series 2011 has a smaller amount, but it's still significant enough that we would want to bring it up to y'all. And Series 2012 has a potential savings of upwards of about $2 million. So if you don't mind, Mr. Trailer, would you like to introduce yourself and give us some information on this? Can you hear me, Mr. Trailer? Mute. Mr. Trailer, can you hear us? No? Okay.
Call him on the phone, no?
It's probably trying to log on again or reboot.
Let me text him.
He's on there, he just can't hear us.
Right.
Ms. Vicky, is it possible that we move on to the following and then come back and revisit this process, so we won't have to take up much more
Yeah.
time?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you, Mr.
So I'm assuming he's going to
Lopez.
be, I'm sorry, Ms. Weaver, but I think he's going to be
Yes.
2.2, 2.3, correct?
Yes.
Okay, let's
Okay,
make
so
sure we
then we'll
circle
go
those
to
and
2.4.
Thank
Okay,
you.
we'll come back. Thank you. Okay, agenda item 2.4, discussion and consideration for the bid or bids received on the following struck off Cameron County for itself and other taxing jurisdictions from a tax resale conducted on November 3rd, 2020.
So we do have Ms. Monica Solis from Limeberger.
Hi,
Thank
Mrs. Solis.
Hi,
Ms.
good morning, good
Solis.
afternoon.
Hi,
you for
good
joining.
evening.
Thank you for having me. So I just wanted to start with a brief explanation of the resale process. What we have before you all is 3 properties that we offered at a resale. And the way we get to a resale is that once we have obtained a judgment on a property, once we have obtained an order of sale to be able to put that property up for sale, we are required by statute to publicize that property for 3 consecutive Sundays leading up to the sale. By law, we're required to hold the sale on the first Tuesday of the month at 10:30. The sales used to previously be held at the courthouse steps here in Cameron County, starting since about last March or so. And it was kind of just perfect timing. It was right. We'd already previous to March had begun the process of starting an online tax sale system. And that's kind of just when COVID hit. So it worked out perfectly. So now all of our sales, rather than holding them at the courthouse steps, they're all held online, which I think works great. It really opens up the people that come in and are able to bid on a property rather than holding it at the courthouse steps. But leading up to the sale, we are required to follow the statute. We do publicize it in the newspaper 3 consecutive Sundays leading up to the sale, hold the sale on the first Tuesday of the month. Now, by law, we're required to start the bidding on a property at the lesser of 2 things, either what is due in taxes and costs or the appraised value of the property. For most of the properties that we sell, we usually do get a bid. Here and there, we will get a couple of properties where no bid at all is received. When no bid is received on a property, we refer to that property as struck off. And we refer to it in that sense because it is struck off to the ownership of the taxing authorities who all have an interest in the property. The 3 properties that you have before you, ownership falls into Cameron County, City of San Benito, and San Benito ISD. Because it is now a governmental property or owned by a governmental unit, it is exempt and struck off from the tax roll. So it is not incurring any tax liability. What we do in order to facilitate getting this property put back onto the tax roll and out of the ownership of the taxing jurisdictions, we hold it what's called a tax resale. And we hold that tax resale similar how we hold a tax sale. We take it out for a bid and take the highest bid that we receive on the property to the taxing jurisdictions to see whether they are willing to accept that offer. Because more often than not, that offer is usually less than what they would have initially received. Now, what you have before you is the information on the 3 properties that we've put together. And on the packet that we have handed over to you, we feel we have put all the information on the property that we think that you all would ask, as to location of the property, how many years of taxes were due, what the ISD would have received initially if the minimum bid had been met at the initial tax sale, and what has now been offered and what the ISD will receive should they accept this offer on the property. The most important thing regarding this is that if this offer is received and accepted by the ISD and by the City of San Benito and Cameron County, because all 3 taxing jurisdictions must approve the offer for the sale to move forward, then there would be a new owner of the property. That new owner the property would now be put back onto the tax roll, and this property would be incurring that tax liability, and this new owner would be maintaining the property. Anyone have any questions regarding the resale process or any of the properties that we brought before you all?
No, thank you. Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
What I'd like to know is on one of the properties that's listed here on 753 Resaca Drive,
Mhm.
it took 35 years to determine that they were not going to pay taxes.
Well, on that property specifically, there was a deferral on the property. So what happens is when there's a deferral on the property, by law, we are not allowed to go and either file a suit on the property or sell the property. So if you'll take a look at, there was dating back, I'll get you back to what year the deferral was applied on the property. But if there's a deferral on the property, we're not allowed to proceed to either file a suit or proceed to foreclosure or sale of the property.
And who does the
if
deferral? Who does
the
the
deferral is filed by the taxpayer. So any taxpayer that holds either a homestead exemption or a disability or over 65 exemption is allowed under the law to apply for deferral on their property. So let's say, for instance, we have a taxpayer who just turned 65 this year. They're allowed to go over to the Cameron Appraisal District, and if they've already got a homestead exemption on there, they're allowed to apply for their over 65 exemption, and then they are also allowed to obtain a deferral, which protects them should they become delinquent in their property. The taxing jurisdictions are not allowed to proceed to either file suit or foreclose on the property.
The property that's in question, is that a commercial or is that more residential?
I'm not sure as to the property as whether it's commercial or residential. I know exactly where it sits. It's right on the corner right there of Business 77 and the Resaca. But I don't know as far as how it is zoned.
So of the 59,000 that is owed, we're only getting 15,700. Is that correct? Am I understanding that correctly?
Right. So initially $36,000 was owed to San Benito ISD. The highest offer that was made was for 59,000. And so the proportionate rate that would go to San Benito ISD is 15,000. And like I said, this property we'd previously taken it to a tax sale and there was no offers made on this property at the initial tax sale. And this was the highest offer that was made at the resale.
Okay, so then we move to the 2.5. That's where we're going to be discussing the resale, right? Okay. Okay. Now, thank you so much, Miss Monica Solis. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next one. 2.5, discussion and consideration on the resolution of the bid or bids received on the tax resale conducted on November 3rd, 2020 for the above mentioned properties.
So on that one, as Ms. Monica Solis mentioned, there are certain property amounts that are entitled to San Benito CISD based off of each of those sales. So would you like to go through each of them individually, or? The first one is $1,709.52. On the second property, it is $8,521.76. And on the third property, it is $15,770.94. So the resolution is approving those amounts. Am I correct, Ms. Solis?
Yes, that's correct. These items just go hand in hand. If the bids were approved, then the resolution would need to be approved as well so that we could move forward to get a deed into the new owners.
So did I understand this correctly, Ms. Vicky, that those amounts that you just listed for each of the property, that would be the amounts that the school district would receive? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
So we need to just put it back into the, we need to put it back into the tax roll so we can start getting something out of them rather than to be sitting here on something that's empty and doesn't bring us anything. So, I mean, we keep losing and losing and losing. So we've got to make up that money for the taxpayers' purposes.
Yeah, that's true. So we're gonna have to make a vote on this right now, or are we gonna go for an agenda item?
We would like for it to be an
Okay.
agenda item.
Yes.
It has to be an agenda
Okay,
item.
agenda item, yes.
Not for a vote.
Okay, thank you.
And we
Okay,
don't
any
need
question?
we need 2.4 as an agenda item also, 2.4 and 2.5, right?
2.4 and 2.5, agenda item. Okay.
Yes.
To approve the bid and then to approve the
The resolution.
resolution.
Thank you so much. Okay, do we want to go
Thank
back
you.
now with, thank you so much, Ms. Solis.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, so we go back now to 2.2.
Mr. Taylor?
Taylor, is he ready?
Yes. Good
Okay,
evening, everyone.
okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, we can. Thank you. Welcome back.
Yes.
Very good. Good to be with you this evening. And I feel like that commercial we've all seen too many times on television. Can you hear me now? But good to be heard and good to hear you all. So
Great, same here.
great to be with you tonight. The purpose of my presentation this evening is to make the board aware of an opportunity that has come up to potentially refinance a couple of different series of the district's outstanding bonds. I've got some presentation material that I can try to share on the screen, unless you have it in front of you and would prefer me not to share it on the screen at this point. Would you like me to go into screen
share
share?
it on the screen, please. Yes.
Yes, will do.
We don't have it in front of us.
No, we
Okay.
don't.
Can you see this?
No.
I can share my screen if that helps, sir.
Yeah,
That
'cause
may
we
be-
don't want to
that may-
lose him again. We don't
That
wanna
may be
lose him.
great.
Yes, we want to lose you again, sir. It's good.
Actually, here we go.
Oh, there you go. Yes, we see it now.
Okay. You see the presentation now?
Yes.
Okay. So the material before us, there'll be two different scenarios that I would like to visit with you about tonight, but both of these entail refinancing different series of the outstanding bonds. And the reason this has arisen is twofold. We've, as a result of the COVID pandemic and some of the general economic conditions that are a part of that, we find ourselves in an interest rate environment that is very low. And when interest rates are low, there is an opportunity, there's generally an opportunity to look to refinance outstanding bonds, much like if it is a good time because of low interest rates to refinance a home mortgage. The same is generally true for an outstanding bond of a school district. And so there are a couple of the bonds outstanding that actually would produce some meaningful savings to the district. And we wanted to present that to you this evening. The first being the unlimited tax refunding bonds, Series 2011. Those bonds have a final maturity, meaning they'll be paid off in full in 2024. So they're almost paid off. However, the remaining 3 maturities after this year become callable next month. And those are outstanding at an interest rate of 3.5%. And under current market conditions, if we were to be able to go out into the market to refinance that outstanding $3.875 million worth of bonds, we would be able to generate or reduce the debt service on those bonds over the remaining life by approximately $134,488. That works out to an average of approximately $44,829 per year. And on a present value basis, that savings is about 3.48% of the principal amount outstanding. Now, this particular scenario, I would say generates only a modest amount of savings there. And the reason for that is just simply because we are now so very close to those bonds being paid off. There are only 3 more years remaining. And so while we would be able to reduce the interest rate from a 3.49% to like a 1.67%, there's just not a whole lot of time for that interest rate differential to accrue a substantial amount of savings. However, I think it's important for us to discuss even the $44,000 per year in savings and present that to a district as an opportunity, particularly in light of the next scenario that we would like to present to the district, and that's found on the next page of this memo. The next set of bonds that are available to potentially refinance are the school district's unlimited tax refunding bonds, Series 2012. And currently, what we're looking at refinancing for those bonds are the 2025 through the 2034 maturities. Those are the bonds that are callable of that series. That totals $18.83 million, and those bonds are outstanding at an interest rate of approximately 3.51%. However, in today's interest rate environment, the all-in interest rate, TIC, to refinance those bonds would be approximately 1.58%. And over the remaining life of those bonds, the interest cost on the bonds could be reduced by a total of $2.645 million, or an average of approximately $203,495 per year over the remaining life. And as we look at the present value percentage savings on these, we look at present value savings percentage of approximately 12.6%. Now, I would also like to point out to you, if you can see the debt service savings column here over to the far right, and it's the second from the right column that I've highlighted. What that is the annualized savings. And you can see there that the savings on this particular refinancing would be approximately $74,000 per year in 22, 23, and 24. But then the heart of the refinancing savings comes beginning in 2025 through 2034. And the reason for that jump up there is that's the years where we actually have bonds that are being refinanced. So again, this is also a function of the very low interest rate environment that we're in. These bonds, the 2012 bonds, are currently not yet currently callable. And because of that, we would have to actually sell bonds in the taxable interest rate market. Normally, school districts sell bonds in the tax exempt market. However, many districts across the state of Texas are utilizing taxable bonds right now to refinance old tax exempt bonds, because those taxable bonds the interest rates are getting so very low, have gotten so very low, that there is meaningful savings to consider. So these are the two different scenarios that we would be looking at here to provide some savings to the district on your outstanding debt service of your bonds. Typically, the way that these occur is the board, and this is something that San Benito CISD, we've worked with you guys in the past on refinancing your outstanding bonds, particularly these old bonds. The way this works is if the board decided to move forward with this, we would have your bond attorneys prepare what are called bond orders. And in those bond orders, there would be a set of parameters that would be spelled out there that authorize the issuance of these refunding bonds, and typically we would name the superintendent as the pricing officer for that refinancing. And that can occur if and only if certain parameters that would be within those orders are met. And those parameters would have to be that we're not issuing more bonds than what are being refinanced. We are not extending the final maturity of bonds being refinanced. So it would have to be a true apples and apples savings. We couldn't say, hey, we're gonna save some money each year, but we're really going to extend the final maturity out beyond what they're stated to pay off now. We keep that the same. And then additionally, there must be a real present value savings associated with refinancing those. And then we would, once the board approves that, we would begin the process of obtaining the TEA's permanent school fund guarantee that allow those bonds to be rated in the AAA range. By virtue of that permanent school fund guarantee, we would also then be working with your staff to prepare preliminary offering memorandum that would be used to go out and market the bonds to end investors and use that to hopefully lock in the interest rates once it's time to be ready to go out into the market to sell those refinancing bonds.
Right.
That is really the from a presentation material standpoint. That's the presentation material that I really have to share with you this evening. So if you don't mind, I might stop the screen sharing.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Great. Good presentation. Thank you, sir.
When you're talking about taxable bond, we're talking about a cost?
No, ma'am. The difference between a taxable bond and a tax exempt bond is on the investor. The end investor in the bond, if it is a tax exempt bond, that investor does not have to report the interest income that they earn to the IRS, and thus does not have to pay federal income tax on that interest. On a taxable bond, the investor does have to report the interest on the bond and has to pay tax on interest earned. That's the difference. And so yes, there is typically a slight interest rate differential between taxable and tax exempt, but because rates have gotten so low, the taxables are really making a lot of sense. It's not necessarily the district at the end of the year that's paying the tax. It's the investor in the bond that ends up paying the tax.
I hear you.
Great. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your clarification. Okay, any other
Well, Mr. Desi,
questions?
no, not a question, just a comment, Ms. Weaver. I mean, unfortunately, we
Okay.
all know that the situation's going on right now with COVID and the decrease in funding for the next 2 years, about, I don't know, 10 or 15%, what the rumors are. But I think it's it's a good idea to look at our resources, and like we've done in the past, been very, very diligent as far as what we can do to reinvest and diversify the monies here and there so we can continue increasing that amount. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer myself. I mean, you know, if you compare the apples to apples, like Mr. Traylor said, I mean, if there's that amount of money to save, you know, then I think we need to look at that. But we also need to understand that it is going to be a decrease in funding. That's a given. So you know, in my opinion, it's a no-brainer. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay.
Mr. Traylor.
Thank you. And I would
thank
also
you.
just point out, San Benito CISD, you guys, your board and administrations have historically been aggressive about this sort of thing. You know, when these opportunities have presented themselves, San Benito CISD has done a good job of taking advantage of those opportunities to seek to reduce the interest cost on their outstanding bonds. So that's exactly what this is.
Thank you so much. Thank you
Yes.
for thank you for your great presentation, and thank you for everything.
Well, thank you, and I'm
ask-
glad that we can finally see one another.
Let me
Yes.
ask this, sir, is there a deadline of when we need to tell you this, or when we need to vote on that, or by a certain time? Is there a deadline?
The savings here is a function of the interest rate environment and the low interest rate environment. And so we have what is called potential interest rate risk here, in that if we wait to act, we have a risk that the interest rates could move higher and reduce our savings. But other than that, there's no deadline here. But from this point, what we could do at your direction is have your bond attorney present and prepare the bond orders that would authorize you to move forward with these two options. Probably maybe even as soon as, a board meeting in February.
Ms. Yanes, on the attachments, actually for everybody, just so y'all know, on the attachments that we put on the board book, if you're looking at that column that Mr. Traylor mentioned, the current market rates, there's also one to the left and one to the right that has whether or not those interest rates fluctuate. So it gives a good depiction of just how those interest rates could affect the total savings. So for example, if we catch it on a very good interest rate day, it could be an increase of, a savings of 2.7 on the overall bond.
Yeah, I understand it. Yeah, I'm fine with it. I work in the mortgage industry. I know how that works.
Thank you, Ms.
Yeah.
Vicky.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Ms. Vicky, for
Thank you
clarifying
very
it.
much.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor. Thank you for your presentation.
Mr.
Thank
Traylor,
y'all.
I have a quick question. I was trying to see if it said there if it's a fixed rate. I'm assuming it is. Is it a fixed rate?
Yeah.
Variable?
Thank you for asking that question. The outstanding bonds that we're looking to refinance are fixed rates of interest, and these new refunding bonds would also be at fixed rates of interest. They would not be subject to fluctuation. Thank you for asking.
Okay. Now let's moving on to the next agenda item, 2.3, review and discussion of option to refinance bonds. Ms. Vicky?
So on this one, we are requesting that we humbly ask that we put this on our agenda item for our next
Okay.
board meeting.
Yes.
Okay, agenda item.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one, agenda item 2.6, review and discussion of bid number RFP 1220 GMS General Merchandise and Services.
So on this one, this is our rolling bid. So this is where 4 times a year, we're gonna ask that if anybody wants to be included in our general merchandise and services bid, then they're more than welcome to. We'll take it to the board. For this round, we have a total of 12 additional vendors that we would like to add to our general merchandise bid list. And then they will also have the option of extending for 1 more year, just like we did in this previous month, contingent that they are providing a good service to San Benito CISD.
Okay, great. Okay, agenda item. Okay, next one is 2.7, review and discussion of bid number RFP 1220 MCSD Meal and Catering Services district-wide.
This one is for our catering services, and we have 1 additional vendor to add to our rolling bid as well.
Okay. Okay, agenda item. Okay. Next, 2.8, review and discussion of bid number RFP 1220 PCS Professional Consultant Services district-wide.
This one is also one of our rolling bids, and we are requesting to add 3 more vendors to that list, to our current list.
Okay. Agenda item. Next one, 2.9, review and discussion bid number RFP 1220 PCWI Property and Contents Coverage Windstorm Insurance.
So we went out for bids for property content coverage windstorm insurance. We did have 1 bid, and that was Carlisle Insurance. This one is pretty extensive. It has a lot of little moving pieces. So we've asked Chase Carlisle to join us on this meeting. Mr. Carlisle, can you hear us?
Yes,
Good
ma'am.
evening.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Sir,
Good
can you
evening.
give us
Evening.
a little bit of information
evening.
on the bid, the coverage, the limitations, and any other additional information that the board members might need?
Sure, absolutely. So basically, you guys went out for an RFP this year, and we approached the marketplace as we do, no matter if you go out for RFP or not. Nonetheless, the incumbent carrier that has handled the insurance for the past couple years was the best pricing that we were able to find in the market. It's roughly about an 8% cost increase from what was paid last year in premium. You are purchasing this year what we consider a $100 million loss limit. And effectively what that means is y'all's total insured values, which are all your buildings, your contents, and your computer equipment, all that kind of stuff adds up to $396 million. What we're buying here tonight is a $100 million loss limit, meaning in the event of a hurricane that comes through our area, the maximum the policy would pay out would be $100 million. And you may wonder why we would want to do that. Well, historically, and in the way that the markets look at the modeling and stuff, it shows that most risks along the coast, not just in Texas, but Florida coast, they're not going to be a complete disaster and a complete wipeout of all your facilities. So when we look at public entities, the rule of thumb is we look at buying between a 20 to a 35% loss limit. When you look at 100 million on roughly just call it 400 million of what y'all are purchasing, you're sitting at about 25% of your total exposures. So you're adequate, you're in line with your peers. We do benchmark that data, and it's something that we'll need to keep our eyes on. I was listening through the building committee meeting earlier. I think you guys are going to do some renovations and maybe some future expansions. So as you continue to grow, then that limit will need to increase and grow with you as you go. But as it is right now, we feel it's a comfortable limit. Again, you're carrying a 5% deductible as well. And the only thing our policy really covers, y'all talk about the next one after me, but ours is just named storm coverage. So tropical storms or hurricane is the coverage that we are selling to the district tonight. The rest of the coverages are provided, I think, by TASB, which will be the next topic.
Okay,
Are there any
great.
questions about that?
There's no deductible on that
Yes, ma'am. It's a 5% deductible.
of the million?
5% per the building affected in the loss is how it's applicable. So usually you have it's either per building or per location. We don't like to sell a per location because you look at a high school campus, you may have 30 or $40 million altogether at a high school. So if we have damage to one or two buildings, we have a very large deductible. So the way we structure our policy is a per building deductible. So it's only applicable to the value of the building that is damaged at the time.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item. The
Ma'am.
next one, 2.10, review and discussion of bid number RFP 2020 Pcwic property casualty windstorm insurance coverage.
So as Mr. Carlisle mentioned, he takes care of the items, the losses that we incur over a named windstorm. This is for tropical storms, lawsuits, property damage. And this one we are recommending that we can get TASB as our carrier. So attached, you do have some bid tabulations. It is an increase of approximately $22,000 from last year. I'm sorry, $44,000 last year. And that is monthly. So last year we had a $40,204 premium. This year it will be a $44,643 monthly premium. Any questions on this one? You might notice that there is an increase on the amount per contribution. So property and contents, that's because we've had more hurricanes and more tropical storms. Professional legal liability, that's just covering our lawsuits. Automobile and liability, those are covering the additional vehicles that we might have. So there is a small increase, but it is comparable in each of those categories.
Ms. Vicky, real quick, I have a comment to make, or maybe just a suggestion. Here in the near future, with all our buildings going up, maybe it'll be a good idea to see we can get, more competitive rates out there. I know, for property and casualty, it's only one person all the time for the most part, right? But I think when, we're going to insure all these other buildings, it'll be nice to see if we can go out and have a few more people come in and the company so they can, it's just better business sense, in my opinion. Thank you, ma'am.
I
Appreciate
did talk to the purchasing director this afternoon, and I did ask that we open these bids out 6 months before they go up before their end of their life, so that we can
Good.
give it just enough time to get whatever we need plus additional ones. And then they do email and call a bunch of carriers, but I did wanted to make sure that y'all didn't know that we are going to extend that period for the next year.
Great.
for both of these.
Yeah, we just want to
Great,
be more
thank you.
competitive.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez.
Do we have,
Thank you.
do we have any local people that you can use, that you can get a bid on?
Yes, we do. There are several local businesses, and we do reach out to them. So it's just a matter of whether they can get the information on time or if they have competitive enough amounts. So we will start a lot earlier on that one. So you might see that that's going to open up. You might see an ad maybe in October or September instead of this.
Okay,
Yes.
agenda
Vicky.
item.
Yes, sir.
Vicky, in looking at these numbers for the monthly premium, so for a 12-month policy compared to the 2020, 2021, and compared to the 21, 22, we're looking at almost a $52,000 increase. Is that correct? Per year?
Mhm.
Yes, it is. That's
That's
correct.
a lot of money.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's a
But
little
it-
bit more than the 5% that he's saying. If you
This one-
calculate it.
This one it's different because we do have the insurance for the windstorm damage for those tropical storms. That one was probably the big,
Yes.
that one has a lot to do with our tropical storms. Our property damage, our legal damage, all of those, they all have a little bit extra in them this year. So I can definitely see why we would want to have a more competitive window in there.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yes.
definitely.
Okay, thank you, Vicky.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, committee concerns, any questions, any concerns? No? Okay, so I adjourn this meeting at 9:38 PM. Thank you.